"Get out of my house. You made your choice," my dad said, throwing my bag outside. I was 16 and pregnant. I begged. He slammed the door. 20 years later, I stood in front of him again. "My name is Rebecca Hayes. I'm 36 years old. I work as a nurse now, long shifts, steady hands, and a life I built piece by piece without anyone's help. But when I was 16, I had nothing. No home, no safety, no plan, just fear sitting heavy in my chest and a baby growing inside me. My parents were strict and obsessed with how things looked from the outside. Reputation mattered more than anything. The moment they found out I was pregnant, everything changed. I wasn't their daughter anymore. I was a problem they wanted gone. My younger sister stayed, quiet, perfect, as always, never stepping out of line, never defending me. That night, when they threw me out, it wasn't just about leaving the house. It was like I had been erased completely. No calls came. No one checked if I was alive. I slept on couches, worked small jobs, and did whatever I could just to survive. My dream was simple. I wanted my child to feel safe. I wasn't powerful, but I never forgot anything, and I kept moving forward. If you've ever been abandoned when you needed love the most, I feel you. That kind of pain stays with you. Subscribe if you've had to rebuild your life alone. Share your story in the comments. I'm listening. And if you've ever proved people wrong, hit like. Let's go. That night still lives in my mind like it never ended. My mom found the test in my room. I still remember the sound of the paper shaking in her hand. "What is this?" she demanded. My heart dropped. I tried to explain, but she didn't want to hear it. "You've ruined this family," she said. My dad came in, his face already hard. "Is it true?" he asked. I nodded, barely able to breathe. The silence felt heavy, like the whole house was waiting for something. Then it exploded. "We're not raising your mistake," my dad said sharply. I stepped forward. "I'm not asking you to," I said. "Just give me time. I'll work. I'll fix this." My voice shook, but I meant every word. My mom turned away like she couldn't even look at me. "Pack your things," she said. I froze. "Please," I whispered. My dad grabbed my bag and started throwing my clothes into it. "You made your choice," he said again. My sister stood near the hallway, watching. She didn't say a word. Not one. When my dad threw the bag outside, I followed it, my hands trembling. The cold air hit my face. Neighbors stood nearby, pretending not to stare, but watching everything. I felt their eyes. I felt the shame. I knocked on the door once. "Please," I said. No answer. I knocked again. Nothing. I picked up my bag and walked away. Years passed after that night. Hard years. But I survived. Then one day, a letter arrived. Legal notice. My parents were suing me, claiming I owed them money tied to a property in my name. After 20 years of silence, they suddenly wanted something from me. I read the documents 3 times, sitting at my small kitchen table, while the clock ticked loudly behind me. None of it made sense. They claimed they had managed assets for my benefit and now expected repayment. What assets? I said out loud. I had never received anything. Not a dollar. Not support. Nothing. A few days later, messages started coming in. Old relatives I hadn't heard from in years. "Why are you doing this to your parents?" one asked. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Then I understood. They had already told their version. In their story, I was the one who walked away, the one who abandoned them, the one who owed them. My chest tightened, but I stayed quiet. Then my sister called. Her voice sounded softer. Then I remembered. "Maybe if you just settle, this can all go away," she said. I let out a slow breath. "You kicked me out," I said, "and now you want money from me?" She didn't answer directly. "It's complicated," she said instead. I almost laughed. After everything, she still stood with them. I hung up and looked back at the papers. Something felt off. The numbers didn't line up. Dates didn't match. My fears slowly turned into something else. Anger. Then clarity. I wasn't going to run from this. I wasn't going to stay quiet again. This time, I was going to face them. What they didn't know was I had something they never thought I'd understand. Over the years, working in hospitals taught me more than medicine. I learned how to read complex records, how to spot inconsistencies, how to follow details others ignored. Documentation became second nature to me. I went back to the legal papers and studied them carefully, line by line, date by date. It didn't take long to notice the problems. Missing records, vague claims, numbers that didn't connect to anything real. This doesn't hold, I whispered to myself. I started building my own file, a timeline of my life after I was thrown out, jobs I worked, places I stayed, records that showed I had no support from them after that night. Every piece mattered. Every detail told the truth. I had a plan they never saw coming. I said quietly, I wasn't guessing anymore. I was preparing. If they wanted court, I would give them the full story, not the version they created, the real one. And this time, I wouldn't be the scared girl standing outside a locked door. The person who helped me the most was someone I never expected. The hospital administrator where I worked had always been calm, observant, and direct. When I explained everything, she listened without interrupting. Then she said, "You've survived worse than this." Those words stayed with me. She connected me with a lawyer she trusted, someone who took one look at the documents and frowned. "There are serious flaws here," he said. "We went through everything together." He asked questions I hadn't even thought of, and every answer made the case clearer. Meanwhile, my parents acted like they had already won. My sister kept calling, always with the same tone. "It doesn't have to get ugly," she said, but it already was. I stopped answering. I focused on preparing. Nights got longer as the court date came closer. I would sit at my table, papers spread out, the quiet hum of the fridge filling the room. My hands stayed steady. My mind stayed clear. This wasn't just about money. It was about truth. It was about finally being heard. The courtroom felt colder than I expected. My parents sat across from me, calm and confident. My dad spoke first, his voice steady. We supported her, even after everything. He said, I listened without reacting. My lawyer stood up and began presenting our side. Documents, records, proof, one by one. There is no evidence of financial support after age 16. He said clearly. The room shifted. I could feel it. Then it was my turn. I stood up, my heart steady. You threw me out when I needed you most. I said, my voice didn't shake. The judge looked down at the papers, flipping through them slowly. My lawyer presented witness statements, records, everything we had built. My parents tried to respond, but their story didn't hold. It started breaking apart under simple questions. Dates didn't match. Claims fell apart. The judge frowned. These inconsistencies are significant, he said. I felt something inside me settle. For the first time, I wasn't being talked over. I wasn't being ignored. I was being heard. My dad tried to speak again, but his voice lacked the confidence it had before. The decision came shortly after. The case was dismissed. Just like that. Their claim had no ground to stand on. When I walked out of that courtroom, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel hurt. I felt free. The weight I had carried for years finally lifted. My parents didn't follow me. They didn't say anything. My sister didn't call again. Some relatives reached out quietly, but I didn't need their approval anymore. I went home, sat down, and let the silence settle around me. It felt different this time, peaceful, My child, now grown, looked at me with pride. That mattered more than anything. I had built a life from nothing, a real one, a strong one, and no one could take that away from me. I realized something simple. They threw me out thinking I wouldn't survive, but I did more than survive. I built something they could never touch. If you've ever been abandoned by your own family and had to rebuild alone, you know how deep that pain runs. Have you ever faced the people who hurt you the most? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. Subscribe if you've overcome the impossible. Click share to help this story reach others who need it. Standing up for yourself is tough. If you've been there, subscribe and become part of our community. Let me know this story helped by clicking share. And tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel.